Hello, everybody, and welcome to another .NET MAUI Community Toolkit stand-up. It's so good to see everybody. I missed you last month, but we've got a lot of fun updates today. But before we get started into the agenda, Vlad, how are you doing?
Yeah, hello. I also missed last month because I am now an owner of three wonderful chickens. Yeah, so not only garden, but also some birds in my garden now. So that's where I spent almost all my time.
Nice. Are you hatching eggs?
Yeah, one chicken is older, and I have one egg per day.
Oh,
That's
wow.
wonderful, yeah. And two other chickens, I hope by the end of this month will also produce some eggs. Probably you know the game where the wolf tried to catch some eggs, and yeah, looks like I'm a wolf in this game.
That's exciting. Congrats. James, good to see you again. How you doing?
I am doing great. It's been a nice start to summer here. It's been nice and hot, and I've been enjoying my air conditioner a lot. And it hasn't
I
been
hear
raining,
that.
which is very unusual for my area. It's like a torrential rainforest. So if it's not raining, it's an unusual day, and it's been that way for the last month or so.
Wow. Well, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's a bad thing, but yeah, enjoy it while you got it. That's fantastic. I am currently in the AWS office, so I apologize if my Wi-Fi is a little in and out or my sound's a little strange this week, but they're forcing us all to come back into the office 5 days a week. So you got me here, but that doesn't matter because we're here to talk about the toolkit. So let's bring up the agenda. Vlad, thanks for putting the agenda together today. And I want to start out by talking about we have some upcoming releases that we've been working furiously on. As most of you know, we released Popup V2 in Community Toolkit version 12. Well, we've got what I kind of consider Popup V2.1 coming out soon. We have a couple PRs that I need to dig into and merge, some of which we'll be talking about today. I'll be jumping on those this afternoon, my time, and hopefully Gerald's still able to push out the new releases tomorrow on Friday. But basically, made some or squashed some bugs with Popup, and then also added some new features that I don't actually see on the agenda. So I'm just gonna go on the fly here and show you. The biggest one for folks is we want to add, there we go, default pop-up option settings and default pop-up settings. So uh, we were quite honestly pretty surprised at how many pop-ups people use in their app. A couple folks said they used 30, 40 pop-ups and they wanted to be able to set just a default value for either pop-up options. Like all of them will have a background color of orange or I guess that's the default pop-up options. Default, how do you say this? It's pop-up defaults. So the naming was tricky here because we have pop-up options, so we couldn't call these the default pop-up options because then it'd be the default pop-up options. Okay, so we'll set the pop-up default. So if you want to set every pop-up to be able to be dismissed by tapping outside of it or set its background color, you can do that here. And likewise with the pop-up options, if you want every action or every pop-up to have the same action afterwards, you can do that. Or if you want to set the shape and shadow to null by default, you can do that here too. And then I won't pull up that PR, but you can see here in pop-up, we added a PR that added can be dismissed by tapping outside of pop-up to the pop-up class. And actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, I'm confusing myself. So here, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. Uh, So inside of Popup, you can now set the property can be dismissed by tapping outside of Popup. The one caveat, and the reason I wanted to bring this up is that now we have two places, both in Popup options and in the Popup class, where you can set this value for can be dismissed by tapping outside of Popup. And so what we decided the best way forward is that if either of these are false, so if either the Popup says it cannot be dismissed or the Popup options say it cannot be dismissed, we're gonna honor either of those, both of those. If as long as one of those says you cannot dismiss this pop-up by tapping outside of it, then you won't be able to dismiss it. So basically, both of these need to be true for the pop-up to be dismissed. But this is just another quality of life improvement we wanted to add.
Question: why do we have two of them? Why we didn't just move from pop-up options to pop-up?
Yeah, good question. So the big blocker from just ripping this out of pop-up options is that you don't need to subclass the pop-up class to create a pop-up anymore. You can just pass in a view. And so if you just pass in, say, a label and you don't want it to be dismissed, then you have to set that value of pop-up options. So yeah, I agree. It's not the best way to do it. It's a little weird. And we could have just set the rule that, like, nope, you got to subclass the pop-up class if you want to set this property, or removing out of pop-up options. But for now, this was requested by enough folks that it made sense to add it. And I think like I said, the only catch here is just you can set it in two places. So if one of those is false, we're going to honor that and not allow users to dismiss. So that's really the only gotcha. But yeah,
about default values for them. So won't it be confusion for people who set it to true if it by default false, for example, or it's a true by default?
Yeah, so like here in the default pop-up settings, or the pop-up defaults. It's so hard to talk about this without using the word options. Yeah, so if somebody sets this to false, then you'll have to either override that every time you show a pop-up or create a new one. So yeah, it's kind of one of those gotchas to keep in mind, but I don't know. I guess we got to find out how, or if this negatively impacts anybody. Because yeah, sometimes too many options are a bad thing. But
what does the value go to if they don't set the option? Is there an actual default that is just globally set if you don't set one?
Yeah. So if you dig into this PR internally, we've always had this default class. Let's see. Default pop option settings. And let's see if I can get this looking a little better on my monitor here. I'm just on my little laptop here in the office. So actually, probably the best thing to show you is we had the defaults here in a internal static class just called popup defaults. So for example, like your horizontal options, we would always center the pop-up in the center of the screen. And so what I did with this PR was I moved this static class inside of the default pop-up settings. And so inside of here is now where this private internal static class of popup defaults lives. And so these are all the same. These defaults didn't change. And then what we do, if you don't provide us a value, then we'll just set them for you using those pop-up defaults. So if you want to override the defaults, go for it in default pop-up settings. If not, then it'll be the same default values that we have in version 12.0.0.
Actually, I was always thinking that user can just create a static class and reuse it if they need, without adding us any options for them by default values. Maybe it was a simpler solution for us.
Yeah, that's what I was recommending to folks in the discussion boards and the issues that popped up was, you can just subclass from popup and create your custom default popup like that. And likewise with popup options, you could always just subclass that and create your default popup options. it's still valid. You can still do that. This just gives you another option. So again, I think it's more, I kind of see this being more used in theming. Like if all of your pop-ups, instead of having a white background color, you wanted them all to have the default color of your company or your app, then that's an easy way to set it here. If you want all of them to show up in, let's see, this is horizontal end, so this is on the right side of the screen, and so this would be the top corner of the screen. You could do that. So it's what folks were asking for. So give the people what they want. I know.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that we do not make the pop-up complex and maybe confused again. Yeah, because
Yeah.
I would say from all the issues that we get about the pop-up, probably we will never satisfy all users.
Yeah, and one big push. So I've been working closely with Sean. Huge shout out to Sean for helping on this past month. But one big thing is in our docs. So let's see. We've added. We have some open docs PRs. Stick with me. There we go. So one of them being like we have another PR open to add a complex pop-up example. Some folks were concerned about some features we removed that, to be honest, just didn't need to be there, but how to do the same functionality in a new pop-up. And so these docs will include those examples. So like, how do you, let's see, actually, I haven't looked at these yet. I'm going to review these after our stand-up today. But let's see. So yeah, like creating a pop-up that has a view model with observable properties and commands, doing things like subscribing to the pop-up opened event. So one feature we removed was we allowed you to pass in an action called on presenting in pop-up view 1, and kind of recognized that was duplicating some things. So we removed it and recommend folks just subscribe to the opened event, and you can, handle whatever or do whatever you want to do when the pop-up opens there instead of passing that in. And where we didn't have it well documented. So yeah, updating all the docs with these more complex examples, like how do you register with dependency injection, how to use the pop-up service. And so we have added more samples to our sample app. And for example, boop, like here is that complex pop-up that Sean's documenting, adding it into the sample app, and you can see how the background color here is changing because that's just a bindable property that we can rotate. How we return values, show it as a toast. So kind of thinking like, what are some crazy ways people can use pop-up? Here's samples, here's documentation. Because what a lot of folks were demanding we add back into pop-up that we removed, those were removed for a reason because they weren't necessarily needed, and there's other ways to do it already. So just basically simplifying things and updating the docs to show all that. So yeah, just trying to, like I said, catch up to what folks are looking for or expecting with pop-up. And these PRs will be merged later today, along with the docs PRs tomorrow when we push out version 12.1. But of course, that's Gerald's our releases guy. So as long as Gerald's available tomorrow, then we'll have the new release.
Oh, Sean's in chat.
Nice. I can't see the chat. I don't have two monitors with me, so feel free to vocalize anything. All right. Hey, Sean. All right. So we're also going to push out a new version of Community Toolkit at MAUI.camera. I just noticed this today. I don't know if you guys caught this, but our latest release, we accidentally named this 3.0.0-camera. And this is just a bug in our releases pipeline. We've recently moved everything from Azure DevOps to GitHub Actions. So I just discovered this when I was trying to figure out what our next version of community toolkit.maui.camera will be, and flagged it to Gerald to fix that in our releases pipeline. But what I'd like to do is, since the way NuGet works, if you say dash anything, NuGet considers it a pre-release. And so instead of pushing out like 3.1 or 4.0 of community toolkit.maui.camera, our next release, we'll just call that one 3.0.0. And then that'll include the latest PR that we've merged since pushing out 3.0.0 dash camera. So apologies for the weird dash pre-release. We're just migrating everything over from Azure DevOps to GitHub Actions, and we just missed this one. So yeah, stay tuned for community toolkit.maui.camera and community toolkit.maui versions 12.1 and versions 3.0. All right. Well, Vlad, let's jump into it, because I saw this cool proposal about camera video recording.
Yeah, as for this, give me some prehistory of creating of this proposal. So, first of all, it's a one that I will cover today. Sorry, this month's in the July UI challenge of .NET MAUI. Yeah, I will better describe how to create a live camera view, and also the idea come when I played with my chickens who are decided that they are eagle and fly over the fence. So I need to monitor there. So as for this camera video recording, yeah, the idea is pretty simple. We start recording, we pass a stream, and we record, we just start recording there. When we need to stop, we stop our video recording. Another, yeah, it's I would say preferable design of it. It's described here in alternative, where we just pass a memory stream, for example, in stop video recording. Another option is start video recording and simply return a stream from stop video recording.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think, well, first, a fantastic idea. I was surprised that, yeah, when somebody pointed it out, I forget who, but so it was like, hey, we've got camera view and we can see the live camera stream on the screen with camera view, but we can't capture that stream. And we can only take pictures with camera view. It's like, oh yeah, that's a really good point. And so
It's a really good feature, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So love this, Vlad. Thank you. I guess the only thought I have is that one scenario I could see is I would want this. I might want the stream on start video recording. So if I'm totally cool with asking folks to also just pass in the memory stream. Both these APIs look good, but I think if we go this route where we don't pass in the stream, I think it makes sense for start to return that stream, because then folks can use that for like literally live streaming. Like we would give you the memory stream that is being recorded in real time.
Yeah, that seemed like a good idea, yeah. It provides more options and availability.
No, actually, I don't know if it works like that way. Actually, I am trying to implement it in my application, and actually, it works. I tried MJ. I don't remember the name. MJ Stream or something like that. For it's just an image stream, and so I was not able to correctly work with audio right now. Recording, but as for like image streaming, it works. Also, there is a problem probably with encoding. So when we record some video, it's important to make it encoded in format that works for live streaming videos, and I would say it's not part of this library, so it will be up to users how to convert the video to the like uh, um, like
Like an MP4 or
yeah, that
Like
that special.
H.264 or AV1 or
Yeah, the video also needs to be split it on some parts, like TS files, not AV. So yeah, but it's definitely not a part of library. And also there is a problem with Android implementation with stream recording. Because it does not allow to direct recording to stream, so we need to record it to the temporary file, and after that read from that file. So it works like that in
wow.
Android. Yeah, with
So it's ready
I
to the
would
file
say
system?
Google developers should learn something from Microsoft developers who designed the
you
API.
might want to look at the Media 3 library by Google. It has support for recording options, I believe, directly for video. Not sure exactly. I haven't looked into it myself, but I do know it does support working with video.
Yeah, I will try. Also, in this in experiment, let's say I played with different extensions for camera, like night recording, light recording, face recording, so like extension features. So probably yeah. And for now, I implemented it for Android and Windows. So PR is already open. You can try it. As for yeah, it's still in draft. I was not able to implement it for Apple yet. And as for Android, there is a bug in Xamarin Android camera library that interface that I expected for like invalid binding, I would say, where one class does not implement the interface that should be implemented according to the Google documentation. Camera provider, probably.
Yeah, if you can provide that information, I can probably find it and try and fix it in the bindings directly and put a PR
I
in for
already
you.
created an issue in that
Oh, okay.
Xamarin Binding library repository.
I'll go
So
look for it.
yeah, you can find it there, and it would be nice if it will be fixed.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's it. I hope by the end of the month I will at least finalize Windows and Android version, and it will be only Apple implementation left.
Love that. Thanks,
Hopefully,
Vlad.
iOS and Mac will be easier to implement than, say,
Yeah,
Android would be
I
nice.
hope as well.
Yeah, and Vlad, I kind of think, coming back to the API design,
Uh-huh.
I would recommend after you get a chance to play around with iOS and Mac Catalyst, we should shape the our API design around basically like the common surface area between iOS, Android. Like if for some reason, like you were saying, like Android writes things to the file system and doesn't want streams, but iOS does, like, find that happy medium, and our API surface can kind of match whatever works best there. So I guess what I'm trying to say, don't be afraid to modify these API designs, just because
Yeah,
once you get
I
into it,
I
it can be
actually
weird.
think I prefer the here is alternative solution, just because I can pass any stream
Yeah.
there, and it can be file stream, and I directly write to file. It can be memory stream, it can be whatever stream, but with the first like design, it's only like can be a memory stream that we return, and
Yeah.
even according to Android implementation that I currently found, it's probably only the way right now, because it actually use Android use file descriptor, like because it's so that is only the way to pass to method that record all that videos. So under the hood, I just tried to write to the file, immediately read from it, and write it to the memory stream. So I don't want to make it really complex.
Yeah. Jeez. What a crazy design by Android.
Yeah.
But well, we can work with it. Cool. Well, thanks,
Yeah.
Vlad. Anything else?
Just probably we need to vote for it, but we are only 3 here, so
Yeah, I mean, sounds like we're all good. I think we got 3
Mhm.
yeses on the stream. Yeah, let's circle up. Vlad, if you want to drop a quick note in our maintainers Discord channel,
Mhm.
Or actually, Sean's on. I can't see, like I said, I can't see the comments, but if Sean gives a thumbs up, then we can officially approve it. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sean says thumbs up.
hey, all right,
I love live streamings.
approve. Cool.
And George approves too.
That counts. George, you got to join the team someday. So next on the agenda, this is I guess we're gonna have to call this a feature for now. So issue opened up about the pop-up blocking. You can see on Android, he's got the tab bars here on top. And then when the pop-up opens, those disappear. And if we scroll down. So Pedro, thank you, Pedro, figured out that it's actually a MAUI issue. So he's opened up a pull request here in the MAUI repo. We've got this issue just still opened, even though it's not necessarily a bug on our side, just to track the progress. But yeah, just FYI, weird called a feature on Android, but it's not one we can do anything about. But thankfully, Pedro's on top of it and has submitted this PR. And just wanted to share that with everybody in case you do run into that. Yeah, we can talk about this one. Sean's kind of here. So yeah, one of the features we removed from Popup V1 was how do you like what's a way of passing in data? And so one of the kind of weird things, let's see if I dig into this discussion a little bit. I don't know if we have a good example. I feel like we've had multiple discussions on different places about how you pass values in. So but one kind of weird thing is right now we do support iQuery attributable. So maybe the best place to do this is MAUI. I'll put MAUI docs and service, customizing, trading value. Where do we have these documented? I should have grabbed these links on the fly.
Somewhere about
there we go. Passing data into the pop-up view model. So if you're using Shell in .NET MAUI, then you may know already about iQuery attributable. This is just a MAUI interface that allows you to pass data when you say like shell.goto or when you're navigating using Shell. And since Popup v2 was reconfigured to be a content view, well, that's a view, and we need to be able to support iQuery attributable. So there's this kind of weird scenario where we had to implement iQuery attributable for Shell. But if folks aren't using Shell, there's a request about how do we how do we pass data into the popup? So what this PR here that Sean's opened, we still have it in draft because we're still kind of kicking around the idea, like, do we need this, or is this just, could we make better documentation? Kind of to Vlad's point, like, let's not try to overcomplicate things too much. But basically, what Sean's gone in and essentially added support. So, for example, let's zoom out a little bit. Let's show. Oh wait, these are still tests, pop extensions.
Actually, I agree with the idea that we should not focus on only shell. And I was really surprised when we received that we only support, like, that pop-up only requires shell to show, because actually I see that we pass iNavigation.
Yeah, so this was adding the support for iQuery attributable was definitely a last minute thing that Sean and I kind of stumbled upon, because the whole goal with Popup v2 is we're going to use all the MAUI controls out of the box. So that's why Popup is now a content view, and we use modal pages to display it instead of recreating the wheel under the hood. And so without supporting iQuery attributable, we would have broken that just that paradigm in .NET MAUI, if that makes sense, because pop-ups can have a binding context and can have their own view model. And so, yeah, my take on this is, like, you can already pass values in. Like, this is just C#, right? So if we're using dependency injection, there's ways to pass values in via the constructor. You can always subclass from popup and set values there. Like, you can have the popup constructor pass in values. So yeah, that's my hesitation here. Is there's already, I can think of a dozen ways to pass in parameters to your popup class. And the only reason why iQuery attributable is implemented and supported is because we had to. So this is one of the things in that complex pop-up documentation PR we looked at the beginning, where we're going to try and improve our documentation to show you different ways to pass in parameters to your pop-up. Hoping that helps folks kind of take a step back and see, like, this is just C#. Yeah, like, how would you pass in a parameter to anything else in C#? Do it like that for pop-up. But this is open. If we get enough of a demand, or really, if anybody shows me an example where they're blocked, then we can unblock you by using this. But yeah, it's
unblocked by providing.
I think a lot of people learn a lot more from the samples, and we might be able to solve a lot of issues simply by, as you said, creating more sample ideas of how to do this instead of going out and creating a solution, a turnkey solution. You said you could think of a dozen different ways. Simply putting a few of them in to say our sample app might solve a lot of these problems.
Yeah, I agree. That's that docs, the docs PRs we were looking at earlier, that does do that, and so hopefully that'll help. But yeah, I guess what would change my vote on this real quick is if somebody provides an example like, hey, I'm trying to do this and I can't figure out how to do it in the new version of Popup. And the only way we can do it is if we implement iQuery attributable for iNavigation based popups instead of shell based popups. So I haven't seen anything like that. The issues I've seen are basically just Popup was a breaking change, and there's that kind of gut reaction by folks to say, hey, my code is broken, and then blame us and tell us we need to go backwards and change things to fix it for them. But in reality, like, you're not actually the developers I talked to like weren't actually blocked. You just need to zoom out a little bit and think like, okay, well, how would I do this for any other class or any other view or any other .NET MAUI element? Because that's all it is now. And so we had to kind of over-engineer Popup before. That's why we had that like on presenting and being able to pass in parameters. But I don't think we need it now. But yeah, again, if there's any examples out there, anybody watching this, feel free to comment on either this discussion or this PR with your example where you're just totally blocked. Because yeah, if I take a look at it and can't see a way to figure it out without merging this PR, then happy to merge it. But yeah, let's see. Let's keep this one on hold for now. We'll push out Popup. Well, I was about to say Popup 2.1. I don't think we should officially call it that, but Community Toolkit 12.1 will have a lot of improvements. So kind of let this simmer for a little bit and see if we need it. But that's
just a question from chat. Can iQuery attributable be used without shell, and popup be used like without shell and still use iQuery attributable?
So yeah, the answer to that, like if we ignore Popup, like you're just making a .NET MAUI app, you're not even using the Community Toolkit. The answer is iQuery attributable only works with shell. And so that's kind of the other hesitation I have here by us leveraging this iQuery attributable attribute that belongs to .NET MAUI. Like that's not something we control. We're almost redefining how this interface is used because it is exclusive to shell. And so that's kind of where my biggest hesitation comes from allowing iQuery attributable without shell, because .NET MAUI can change behavior and how they handle iQuery attributable under the hood. And then that would immediately break us. And then also, if you're not using shell, you wouldn't use iQuery attributable anywhere else in your app either. So it just kind of breaks that paradigm, breaks that iQuery attributable contracts.
That's quite a mouthful for that word.
I hate that name. I don't know who came up with that, but yeah, it's it's tough to say. It's tough to spell. It's tough to remember. I have to look it up. I have to Google it every time. But anyways, yeah. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Our opened event on Popup isn't the same as passing the parameter, so they can call their view model from opened event, and that's pretty much the same. I don't think that. So it when I implemented it, it was like change like from on appearing to opened event, and it's the same behavior. So everything that they called in on appearing when they passed parameters, they can now call from opened event of popup, and it's pretty much the same.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of, again, why I want to let this PR simmer for a bit, because I think a lot of the feedback we got initially on Popup V2 was, again, like, who moved my cheese? Move it back.
And yeah, Sean said in chat that he agrees with the hesitation is why he left it in draft.
Yeah, and so yeah, I think as we do better with the documentation, with our samples, communicating how to accomplish things now with Popup V2, I got a feeling that we won't need this. But again, if anybody is truly blocked, please upload a sample here that we can take a look at. And if there's no way that I can, for example, figure out a way to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish, and this is the only way to do it, we can move forward. But I'd rather not abuse the iQuery attributable interface that we don't own, that again only works with shell in .NET MAUI. So let's keep rolling here. I don't want to spend too much time. That was more of an FYI because we only have like 15 minutes left and lots of stuff to talk about. So James,
yes, I updated that just today. Basically, I removed the Right now it is only builder only for setting the service, because having it in two places is, first of all, confusing, and second of all, if you there's compile time things you have to do. You have to add the notification information on the service to the XML file. And what we've done is, a couple of months ago, we moved that from user responsibility or developer responsibility and basically took care of it ourselves. And with this PR, we removed that functionality and added it back to the Android manifest, putting it back on developers. That wasn't the issue. The issue that we've been having and we've been discussing over the last couple of months is how and when to allow the foreground service to be enabled. We finally settled on adding it as a bool and putting it in the constructor, and it is now fully working. It works nice. If it's set to disabled, it will set it compile time, and it will never you do not need to put any of the service requirements, like in the manifest. There's no requirements to add the permissions or the service module under the application. And when you do that, it will not display the media notifications on Android, and it will not have the fancy menu. And that was a very much requested thing, because there are people that use Media Element and don't want media rich notifications. In fact, they don't want notifications or service at all, because that's an actual blocker for them. Yeah. And this just adds that functionality, and you can just simply add it on or off. It's on by default simply because that's how it's always been, and that's how it is on all other platforms. But on Android now, you have the option at compile time to say, nope, we're not interested.
Cool, love that. What do you need? How can we help?
I need someone to review it and look at it, and after that, just let me double check the docs, and we're probably good to go then.
Cool. I'm still going to be focused on Popup for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, this is not a huge priority. This is something I just been working on. So yeah, we can wait a couple months on this if we need to.
Well, yeah, no, I was just gonna say, don't feel like you got to wait on me. Sean and I are pretty heads down in Popup. But if you can pull Vlad, or if Victor or Cliff or Gerald are available, feel free to ping those guys and get them in so we can get this going. Because I agree. Like, that was something when I was porting my app Get Trends to .NET MAUI. That was that's where I found that as soon as I display the media element on Android, the pop-up about push notifications pops up, and I'm like, wait, I just want to show a video. I don't I don't need any of this. So
yeah,
it's certainly something I want. but I'll be heads down and Popup for a little bit longer. Hopefully we'll get past that up, and I can.
Vlad, you got a minute to look at that sometime this month?
Yeah, I can try to look at it by the end of the week.
Awesome, amazing, thanks guys. Here, I'll we'll even request a review from Vlad. Boop. Mm-hmm. There we go. All right. Let's see. We got full screen events.
This has been sitting on the back burner for the last year. It's been feature complete probably for about 9 months now, but it's just been on the back burner because everybody's been so busy with various stuff. But essentially all this does is it shows whether or not you're full screen or not. And it works on all platforms except for Tizen, which I can't test. And I don't know the APIs for that. But it works on Mac, iOS, Windows, and Android.
Right on. Same question. What do you need? How can we help?
Review is all I need, and the docs have been done.
It's almost a year since the pull request was open, so I think we just need to review and merge it.
Yeah. Is this something you're able to help out with too, Vlad?
Yeah.
you.
Maybe I will even try to review it today or tomorrow before Gerald release everything, and maybe it will be just included in the next.
Yeah, this was the main blocker on the other thing that I've been working on for the last year and a half, which is adding support for subtitles.
Gotcha. Okay. So yeah, this needs to get pushed through before subtitles. Okay, cool. Thanks, James. Thanks, Vlad. Publish main to NuGet. Yeah. Is this ready, Vlad?
Yeah. I hope it works. Actually, because it's hard. Sorry. Yeah, just because it's not possible to validate until we just merge this PR. Yeah, so the idea here is pretty simple, that we want to publish like nightly builds. Let's say everything that is in main, we want you to, let's say, users try as soon as possible. So just provide us feedback on our intermediate releases, let's say. So whenever a feature is done, it will be published to GitHub NuGet. So it's not a NuGet org, but it will be a separate link. The only one thing that blocks us is that it requires users to create their API key or token. And because GitHub NuGet requires authentication. Because our repository is public, all NuGet packages will be publicly available. So that's the only thing that you need to provide your token just to authenticate, not to some specific like permissions to our repository, but it's just for GitHub to know who tried to pull some package. So that's
Yeah.
it.
Hey, Vlad, if I merge this right now, I could always just use admin rights to push it through. Will this break anything potentially for Gerald when he does our releases tomorrow?
It should not, because if you open PR, it's absolutely separate. Well, only this line of code, if tag and not pull request. So yeah, it's the only thing that is changed, that we also sign not only our release like tags for specific version, but also pull requests. All other steps that related to publish to NuGet org remain the same, and I created a separate task like release main. It's just renamed, so all other things remain the same. It's a name of a job. So the separate job for release main here, and you can see it publishes to this NuGet package GitHub home.
All right.
So
Cool.
yeah, it should not
Let's
break
do it live.
anything. In any case, Gerald can revert
Boom.
these changes.
Yeah, I'll say, Vlad, since we're expecting Gerald to do that release tomorrow, he usually does them. I think he usually does them in the morning, his time. They're always published before I wake up. But since your time zone is close to Gerald's time zone, yeah, shoot him a message maybe tonight before you go to bed, just letting him know. That way, if he tries to do it, then he can ping you in the morning, and you guys can iterate together over this. But yeah, I love this. I love this idea. I love having.
I think if something is broken, Gerald will find me.
Sorry in advance, Gerald. Oh yeah. Let's see. Sean. This one seems like a super simple PR. Looks like Pedro's already approved it. It is literally just an extension method. to let you know if the previous page is a Toolkit pop-up. And so this is something that maybe we could improve the naming on, but I don't see any reason not to move forward this. But if Sean's still around and if you guys can still read the comments aloud, Sean, maybe chime in. We can circle back to this after looking at the next item on the agenda. But yeah, seems like a really straightforward just extension method so that you can see if the previous page is a pop-up page. I'm not quite sure what folks would necessarily use it to, but I guess this example does make sense. Like if you're navigating to another page, you could check to see if
I would use this
pop up
on at least 2 apps.
Yeah.
I would solve a significant amount of problems. In fact, I'm probably going to copy paste the code when we're done here.
All right. Oh, what are we waiting for? Oh, that's right, because it uses the internals. You know what? Let's just go crazy. let's merge this in. Do we have docs on this? We don't have docs yet. Okay, so I'll add the docs after we jump off here, and then we can merge it in.
Yeah, Sean says it's dependent on potential changes from the MAUI team.
It's also pretty good.
Yeah, from reading through this, it sounds like previous page is currently internal. I mean, we own Popup page, so that doesn't matter that it's internal because that's internal to us. But it sounds like the MAUI team is going to make previous page public if they haven't already for .NET 10. So I think I'm going to roll the dice. If nothing else, we can always poke Gerald or ask Gerald to poke the team to make sure that previous page becomes public.
You open the links PR. Probably it's already.
Sean also says we lose internal access from MAUI, so this will break unless they merge the link PR.
Oh, it's still in draft.
This one here, yeah. Okay. Yeah, noted. Actually, you know what? It's July. .NET 10 is going to come out in November, which means probably in a month or two, we're going to start working on our .NET 10 PR. And so, yeah, we'll just need to get this prioritized within the next couple months, which that feels doable. So, yeah. Let me open up a docs PR and we'll just push this through, and yeah, we'll keep poking the team to make sure that they make that public for us. I think that feels pretty comfortable. I like that there's a draft PR open. I don't think we'll break it down to 10. And I'll tell you what, since we are already a little short on time, and I know Sean's here. Thanks again for joining us, Sean, hanging out with us and all the work you've done lately. If you're cool with us chatting about the custom layouts and the bindable source property generators next month, let's do that, because I know I'm going to spend a couple hours working on wrapping up some stuff for V12.1 after we jump off here. So I'll stall a little bit to give Sean a chance to comment. But anything else you guys want to chat about before we close for the day?
I'm just looking at chat, waiting for Sean.
Yeah, it's also funny because we're on a delay. Like, we're live, but I think there's
20 seconds, yeah.
Yeah, so
actually, that two discussions were in our previous month's agenda, so probably they were already discussed. That's why they have enough votes.
He says it's all good here.
All right, cool. Thanks, Sean. Yeah, that's it for me. I'll get hustling on getting version 12.1 ready for us so that Gerald will have it tomorrow. Vlad, James.
Oh, there is one thing. I got a quick PR. If you take a look at the top PR, I have one. It's a fix for the sample app.
Okay.
It is just a very quick fix for a minor issue that people might notice. It's just the bottom image URL has to be a URL. It cannot be just a thing. Like it has to be a URL. And the other thing here is width and height request because of Windows. If right now, unless you set this to it doesn't matter what the value is, just a value where you can tap outside the window or tap outside the pop-up. So because right now it's full screen, so you can't tap outside it in the sample app.
Gotcha. Okay,
and
cool.
that size is
That's an
supposed
easy
to be
one.
the correct size for iOS, so it doesn't break.
Love that. All right, thanks, James. Yeah, I'll put that on my to-do list and start cranking on some code. Awesome. Well, thanks, James. Thanks, Vlad. Great to see you guys, and thanks everybody for joining us for the live show today. Like I said, feel free to spin up some discussions if there's anything on Popup where you think you might be blocked. Hopefully, our new docs will update everything for you and help you kind of think outside the box of Popup V1 going forward for Popup V2. But we will see you next month and look forward to Community Toolkit version 12.1 coming out soon. Thanks, everybody.
Bye bye.